When we hear the word emptiness, we may feel something negative. We may think of something missing, something cold or lonely. But in Buddhism, emptiness does not mean that nothing exists. It means that nothing exists in the way we think it does. Everything in life is always changing. There is no single thing that stays the same forever. Even our body, our name, our job, our thoughts, they all change. When we look closely, we cannot find a solid, unchanging me. This is the beginning of understanding emptiness. Emptiness means that all things depend on other things. A flower grows because of the sun, the rain, the soil, and many other causes. It does not exist by itself. In the same way, we also depend on many things: our family, our food, our language, our history. So when we say something is empty, we mean it is empty of a separate, fixed nature. This can feel strange at first, but it brings great freedom. If nothing has a fixed nature, then we are not trapped. We are not stuck in one way of being. We can change, we can grow, we can live more lightly. Understanding emptiness is not just a big idea. It can help us in small moments, when we are angry, when we are afraid, when we feel alone. We begin to see that these feelings come and go. They are not solid. They are not us. That is the power of emptiness. So we begin here, with this deep and gentle truth. Things are not as solid as they seem, and that is a doorway to peace. We live in a world that feels full of separate things. A chair looks like a chair. A person looks like a person. You and I seem completely different. But Buddhism asks us to look again, more deeply. When we see a chair, we think it is one simple thing. But it is made of many parts: wood, nails, fabric, and more. These parts come from trees, metal, cotton. Those trees grew from the earth with sun and water. So where does the chair begin? Where does it end? The same is true with people. We say, "This is me," and "that is you." But what is me? Is it my body, my thoughts, my memories? All of these are always changing. None of them stay the same. And none of them exist alone. This idea may seem unusual, but when we stop and watch the world closely, we see it. Nothing is truly separate. Everything is part of everything else. This is the illusion of solid, separate things. We suffer because we believe this illusion. We think we must protect me and get more for me. We fear others, or we want to control them. But if we see that there is no clear line between self and other, something softens inside us. We don't need to fight so much. We don't need to hold so tight. Seeing through this illusion does not make life empty in a sad way. It makes life open, connected, full of wonder. We are not alone. We are part of a great flow, a great whole. This is the beginning of freedom. Much of our pain does not come from the world itself. It comes from how we think about the world. A person says something, and we feel hurt, not only because of the words, but because of the story we tell ourselves afterward. We often believe our thoughts without question. I'm not good enough. They don't care about me. This shouldn't be happening. These thoughts feel real and strong. But they are just thoughts. They are not facts. When we believe these thoughts completely, we suffer. We try to control things. We worry about the future. We feel shame about the past. But thoughts are like clouds. They come and go. They are not the sky itself. Buddhism teaches that suffering begins when we attach to a thought and treat it as the truth. We give it power. We create a small prison inside our minds, and we live inside that prison even when the door is open. To see emptiness means to see that even our thoughts are empty. They are not solid. They do not last. They do not have a self of their own. When we see this clearly, we don't need to fight our thoughts. We can let them pass like birds flying through the sky. This does not mean we stop thinking. It means we stop believing every thought. We create space. We find calm, even when thoughts still appear. In this space, suffering begins to lose its power. We start to live with more ease, more softness. We stop building walls inside our mind. We begin to step outside the prison. And in that step, we start to feel free. Sometimes people hear the word emptiness and think it means nothing matters. They imagine a dark, cold world with no meaning, no beauty, no feeling. But this is not what Buddhism means by emptiness. Emptiness does not mean there is nothing. It means that things do not have a fixed, separate self. Things still appear. You still hear sounds, see colors, meet people. But you understand that none of these things exist by themselves. They all depend on causes and conditions. A flower is empty, but it still blooms, still has color, still brings joy. Its emptiness does not make it less beautiful. In fact, its beauty comes from its emptiness. Because it is always changing, always connected to the world, it is alive. When we understand this, life becomes rich, not empty. A smile, a cup of tea, the sound of the wind. All these things are empty, but full of life. They are not owned, not held. They come and go, and that is what makes them precious. If we believe things are solid and permanent, we suffer when they change. But when we know they are empty, we can meet them with open hands. We can enjoy them while they are here, and let them go when they leave. So emptiness is not a hole. It is not a cold space. It is a deep understanding of how life works. And in this understanding, we find peace. We find freedom. This is not something to believe with the mind. It is something to see with the heart, again and again, in daily life. Emptiness is not the end of meaning. It is the beginning of something more true. Most of us live with a strong idea of I. We say, this is my body, my mind, my story. We believe there is a solid self inside us, something fixed and unchanging. But when we look closely, we cannot find it. The body changes over time. The mind changes even faster. Thoughts, emotions, and memories rise and fall like waves on the ocean. If the body and mind are always changing, then what is the I that we are trying to protect? Buddhism teaches that this idea of a separate self is not real. It is a habit of thinking. We collect pieces, our name, our job, our past, and we call it me. But this me is a story, not a fixed thing. This doesn't mean we don't exist. It means we don't exist in the way we imagine. We are more like a dance than a statue. There is movement, flow, and connection, not a solid center. The false self tries to control life. It wants things to go a certain way. It fears loss. It compares itself to others. This brings stress, conflict, and pain. When we see through the false self, something shifts. Life becomes less heavy. We don't have to defend ourselves so much. We can relax, even in hard times. We start to feel more open, more at ease. You don't need to destroy the self. Just see it clearly. When you understand that the self is like a shadow, not solid, not permanent, you stop chasing it. And in that moment, there is peace. Seeing through the false self is not losing who you are. It is the beginning of knowing who you truly are, something wider, softer, and more free. We often believe that holding on to things brings us happiness. We hold on to people, places, ideas, and even feelings. We say, this is mine, and we fear losing it. But in time, all things change. Nothing stays forever. Attachment is the feeling that we need something to be complete. It is the belief that without this person, or this success, or this comfort, we cannot be okay. This feeling is strong, but it is based on a misunderstanding. When we are attached, we suffer twice. Once when we fear losing something, and again, when we actually lose it. The more we cling, the more we feel pain. Buddhism does not tell us to stop loving or caring. It tells us to stop clinging. Love can be deep without being sticky. We can enjoy a moment, a relationship, a sunset, without trying to keep it forever. When we understand emptiness, we see that everything is part of a flow. People come and go. Feelings rise and pass. Even our own thoughts move like wind. When we stop trying to freeze life, we begin to live it fully. Freedom from attachment doesn't mean we don't feel. It means we feel more clearly, without fear. We appreciate what we have while it's here. We allow life to move, without fighting it. Letting go is not giving up. It is opening up. It is trusting that we don't need to hold everything so tightly. There is peace in that. There is space. When we loosen our grip, we begin to breathe more easily. And in that space, we may find a kind of quiet joy that we never noticed before. Desire is a powerful part of human life. From the moment we wake up, we want things, a warm drink, a kind word, success, comfort. There is nothing wrong with wanting, but when desire controls us, we suffer. Desire says, "I need this to be happy." It creates a gap between what is and what we think should be. And in that gap, we feel stress, anger, sadness, and fear. Even when we get what we want, the feeling doesn't last. Soon, a new desire appears. This endless chain is called craving. It keeps us running, always reaching, never resting. It makes the mind busy and the heart tired. Buddhism does not teach us to kill all desire. It teaches us to understand it. When we see clearly what desire is, it begins to lose its power. We notice how desire comes from a belief that we are lacking something, that we are not whole. But when we look deeply, we find that this belief is not true. The self we are trying to satisfy is not solid. It is empty. When we understand this, desire begins to fade, not because we force it, but because it becomes unnecessary. This is not cold or lifeless. In fact, when desire fades, peace appears. We can enjoy a simple life. We can act with kindness and care, not because we want something, but because it feels natural. The disappearance of desire is not the end of joy. It is the beginning of a deeper joy, one that does not depend on getting or having. It is quiet, steady, and free. And that freedom changes everything. Everything in life moves. The sun rises and sets. Seasons come and go. Our bodies grow, age, and weaken. Even our thoughts and feelings shift moment by moment. This constant change is not a problem. It is the natural rhythm of life. But many of us resist change. We want things to stay the same. We want to hold on to youth, success, love, comfort. When life moves, we feel fear or loss. This is where suffering begins, not in the change itself, but in our fight against it. Buddhism teaches that time and change reveal the truth of emptiness, because nothing stays the same. Nothing has a fixed, permanent self. Every moment is fresh. Every experience is new. This is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. Life is open, like a sky without borders. There are no solid walls. There is no fixed path we must follow. When we see this clearly, we stop trying to force life to match our plans. We begin to trust the flow. This doesn't mean we do nothing. We still act, still care, still make choices. But we do so with awareness of change. We learn to move with life, not against it. And in that movement we find peace. Seeing the open nature of life helps us become less afraid. It helps us forgive. It helps us start again. We are not stuck. We are not too late. Each moment is a chance to live with clarity and heart. Time does not trap us. It frees us if we are willing to let go. Many people search for peace in the outside world. They hope that if everything is just right, quiet home, good health, no problems, then peace will come. But this kind of peace is temporary. Life is always changing, and problems always return. Buddhism points to a deeper kind of peace. This peace does not depend on conditions. It comes from seeing the true nature of life. It comes from understanding emptiness. When we know that things are empty, not fixed, not separate, we stop fighting with the world. We stop trying to control every moment. There is less fear, because we see that nothing can truly be held. And when there is nothing to hold, there is nothing to lose. This may sound strange, but it brings great relief. We no longer have to protect a solid self. We no longer have to win, prove, or defend. We can just be, with whatever is here, now. This kind of peace is quiet. It's not the excitement of getting what we want. It's not the pleasure of being praised. It's the peace of resting in how things truly are. A calm that doesn't shake, even when life changes. We don't need to go to the mountains or leave our job to find this peace. It is here, already, inside each moment. But we must learn to see differently. We must learn to trust the soft truth of emptiness. True peace is not far away. It's not a special state only for saints or monks. It's the natural result of understanding, of seeing through illusion and meeting life with open eyes. This is the quiet freedom that emptiness brings. Relationships can bring deep joy, but also deep pain. Much of this pain comes from our fixed ideas about who the other person is and who we are supposed to be. We hold on to roles, expectations, and old stories. When things don't match these stories, we suffer. Emptiness helps us see relationships in a new way. If no one has a fixed, separate self, then the people in our lives are not frozen. They are changing, living beings, just like us. When we stop expecting them to be a certain way forever, space opens up between us. We often say, "You always do this," or "You never change." These words come from a solid view, but emptiness reminds us that no one is truly one way all the time. People grow, shift, struggle. When we see this, we become more patient. Seeing emptiness in others doesn't mean we don't care. It means we care more wisely. We no longer try to own people or control them. We no longer build walls of me and you. Instead, we meet each other fresh in each moment. This way of seeing can soften even difficult relationships. We stop clinging to old wounds. We stop repeating the same arguments. We begin to listen, not just to words, but to what is behind the words. There is freedom here, not just for ourselves, but for those we love. We offer space, not pressure. Openness, not demand. And in that space, real connection can grow. Emptiness does not break relationships. It makes them more alive. It turns them into a shared dance instead of a fixed role. And in that dance, we may find something truly peaceful. Emptiness is not just something to understand during quiet moments or in deep study. It can guide how we live every day, how we walk, eat, speak, and even wait in traffic. The key is living without clinging. Clinging is the habit of trying to hold on to objects, to people, to ideas. It can show up in small ways, getting frustrated when our favorite coffee shop is closed, feeling upset when someone forgets our name, or worrying when plans change. In each of these moments, we are holding tightly to how we think things should be. But when we see that everything is empty, always changing, never fixed, we begin to let go more easily. The coffee shop is closed, then we walk a little more and find something else. Someone forgets us. We remember that identity is not solid. Plans fall apart. We adjust, knowing that nothing is permanent. This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop fighting reality. We meet each moment as it is, without extra weight. We still act, still try, still love. but we do so with lighter hands. Daily life without clinging feels different. There's more space, more peace, more room to breathe. We stop being pushed and pulled by every little gain and loss. We stop needing things to go our way all the time. In this way, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Washing a dish, folding clothes, or hearing a bird outside, they all become quiet reminders that nothing needs to be held tightly to be beautiful. Letting go in daily life is not about losing, it's about living more gently. And in that gentleness, we often find a kind of joy that was hidden beneath our grasping. In daily life, we quickly judge things as good or bad. We say, "This is a good day," or "That was a bad meeting." These labels feel natural, but they often come from a narrow view. Buddhism asks us to look deeper. When we call something good, it's usually because it gives us what we want. When we call something bad, it's often because it blocks what we want. But what we want is always changing, and so are our ideas of good and bad. Something that feels bad today may help us grow tomorrow. A bad event might lead to a new beginning. A good moment might turn into suffering if we cling to it. In this way, both good and bad are empty. They are not fixed truths. They depend on our view, our mood, and our story. This doesn't mean we stop feeling joy or pain. It means we stop believing every label. We learn to hold experiences with less judgment. Instead of reacting, we pause, we watch, we allow life to show us what it really is. When we stop chasing good and avoiding bad, we find a kind of balance. We are not thrown around by every success or failure. We meet life with steadiness, not fear. This is a kind of freedom, not cold or distant, but calm and clear. Emptiness doesn't take away meaning. It removes the heavy weight we put on every experience. It invites us to see things as they are, not as we name them. And in that seeing, we often find a quiet wisdom growing in us, a wisdom that no longer needs to say, "This is good," or "This is bad," but simply, "This is." When we truly see that everything is empty, not fixed, not separate, we begin to live differently. Life becomes less of a fight and more of a gentle walk. We stop trying to control every step. We learn to move with the rhythm of things. An empty world is not a lonely world. It is a connected one. Because nothing stands alone, everything touches everything else. A kind word, a simple act, a quiet breath, they all ripple outward. We begin to live with more care, not less. We no longer need to rush to prove ourselves. There is no solid self to defend, no perfect future to chase, no past we must carry forever. This brings lightness. We speak more softly, we listen more deeply, we pause, and in that pause, we see clearly. Living gently does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what needs to be done, but without pushing, without clinging. It means allowing life to unfold while staying present in each step. In an empty world, we become more honest. We don't have to wear masks. We don't have to pretend. There is room for sadness, for joy, for silence. Nothing needs to be fixed or forced. This way of living is simple but powerful. It grows not from effort, but from understanding. We learn to bow to what is, just as it is. And in that bow, there is peace. There is beauty. There is a kind of freedom that no one can give us and no one can take away. This is the gift of seeing emptiness not as a concept, but as a way of life. As we walk through life with the understanding of emptiness, something begins to shift, not just in our thoughts, but in how we feel in our hearts. Life becomes softer. We still face troubles, but they don't shake us as deeply. We still have joy, but it flows more quietly, without fear of losing it. This is not the kind of joy that comes from getting everything we want. It is a deeper joy, one that comes from no longer needing to hold on. It rises when we stop chasing, when we stop defending, and simply let life be as it is. We live more gently. We speak more kindly. We begin to trust the natural flow of things. There is no need to always be right, no need to win, no need to protect a false image of who we are. And in this space, peace appears, calm, strong, and real. If even a small part of what was shared here has touched something in you, I am truly grateful. Your presence means something. Whether you are watching from a quiet room or a busy street, the space you bring to listen is a part of this teaching. To those who have liked this video, subscribed to the channel, shared a kind comment, used super thanks, or joined the membership, please know how deeply I appreciate your support. It helps these words reach others who may be looking for a little peace in their own lives. May you continue your journey with a quiet heart, open hands, and eyes that see clearly. Thank you for walking this path with me, even for a short time.